Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro.
The Golden Globes are on Sunday, and we are officially announcing right now in front of your screen as you watch the screen, we will be live streaming the Golden Globes. That's right. And we are also going to try to set up a way for you at home to call in during the parts of the Golden Globes that are not interesting or that they're not handing out awards. So get ready for that and join us. Join us as we discover all the snubs and surprises that the Golden Globes are bound to do.
And since we have two big events happening on Sunday, the Golden Globes and the Oscar Expert Golden Globe live stream, we have to do a predictions video. Let's talk about what will win, what might win, what could win, because the Golden Globes really, nobody knows.
This year is really insane for the Golden Globes. I mean, the amount of categories that I do not feel confident in. It's also interesting because these are the first awards that are going to happen.
Sometimes the Golden Globes do stuff that we think is like wacky zany, and it turns out to that is like the new frontrunner. I'll give you an example. Sam Rockwell and Allison Janney winning, they were considered like number 2 to win, and they ended up winning everything after, even though it was an initial shock. Sam Mendes winning director at the Golden Globes and 1917 winning picture. That was like, and then that became the frontrunner. Obviously it didn't win, but Sam Mendes won it.
And the same thing happened with The Revenant. Yeah. People didn't even think they would give it to Iñárritu. They thought it was going to be like Ridley Scott and The Martian, or it was going to be George Miller.
Also, Joker winning score was a staple that happened everywhere.
This year, everything's stacked into the drama category. So that's also interesting. The drama winner is not just going to be meaningless because they decided to put like the real eventual winner in comedy. And other times, the Golden Globes do things that nobody else does. Aaron Taylor Johnson in Nocturnal Animals, giving screenplay to Steve Jobs, giving score to All Is Lost.
An original song. We've got a song from Judas, Fight For You. We got Hear My Voice from Chicago 7. Low C from The Life Ahead. Speak Now, One Night Miami, and Tigris and Tweed from Billie Holiday.
It seems that Speak Now is the frontrunner, so I'm just going to go with it. We could be proven wrong here, but I don't have any other reason to believe something else is going to overtake it.
The Golden Globes will usually give it to a big song from like their favorite musical, or they'll give it to someone who's like a popular singer. Remember when they gave it to U2? That was like not expected, but then it was like, oh, of course, because U2. Leslie Odom Jr. gets the award if Speak Now wins, and Leslie Odom Jr. is nominated and supporting. Right. I think that's like enough that they could give him the award. Andrew Day would win the award for Billie Holiday, and then Her would win for Judas, but you know, Her is kind of like new music, and I feel like the Golden Globes are not really very hip. I mean, I guess they like Sia, but I'm going with Speak Now. Runner up, I would maybe say, is Fight For You from Judas. Original score, we got The Midnight Sky, Tenet, News of the World, Mank, and Soul.
I think anything here could win. The Golden Globes is harder to predict in score than other places are, but do we have anything obvious here? Like
Soul.
You think Soul is the
clear front runner?
Because they don't even nominate Pixar movies for score very often.
Yeah, but neither do the Oscars. But when Up was nominated, it won at the Globes and the Oscars, so it's not like they don't do it and they won't do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be weird to give it to Mank. If you compare the two, I think Soul is just like the better score. It's the more interesting score. And then you're giving it to like one extra person as well, John Baptiste.
But also I think Soul is just a score that is more like accessible, easy to listen to, and everybody loves that score, and so I feel like it's going to win.
But what could win here? I mean, James Newton Howard is a really big name for News of the World. Maybe he could win for that. They didn't particularly love News of the World.
I don't know why News of the World would win score. Yeah. I mean, Tenet like maybe could get enough passion.
That'd be an interesting option. They didn't nominate it for anything else.
Yeah.
Alexander Desplat for Midnight Sky. I listened to some of that score. I don't think it's one of his most notable.
In my mind, Mank is the runner-up.
But I could see anything happening. Though I'm going to go with Soul because it seems the most safe. And I like to play it safe. I like to say, you know, this seems the most likely, so I just go for that. I'm not just going to go willy-nilly and say, because anything could win, just some random thing is going to win.
For screenplay, we have Promising Young Woman, Mank, Trial of Chicago 7, The Father, and Nomadland.
A lot of people here are saying it's Aaron Sorkin, period. We're done. People think Trial of Chicago 7 is going to win drama.
They gave it to him for Steve Jobs. Gave it to him. Also one for The Social Network, of course. But he also has 8 nominations now, including Trial, for screenplay. The Oscars have nominated him 3 times. It's going to be 4. So the Golden Globes nominate him like all the time. They love him. I don't think they care about giving him 3 Oscars. They gave Tarantino a 3rd Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't know why I don't think they have a problem awarding their favorite guy again.
Yeah, the Golden Globes do not care about giving people multiple awards, even when it means not giving somebody who doesn't have an award.
Maybe Promising Young Woman's the only one that I can see upsetting realistically.
Yeah.
That might be like when Her won Screenplay at the Golden Globes, which was a shock. But then that ended up being the front runner.
And they do not always give it to who wins the Oscar.
Anything else wins, you can color me shocked. Best Director, we have Emerald Fennell, David Fincher, Regina King, Aaron Sorkin, and Chloe Zhao. Almost everybody is seeing a Chloe Zhao win here because she is like the front runner, and I could see her sweeping all the way through. But would the Globes do this? I am personally skeptical. This might be the category where I'm predicting the most long of a shot, even though it's not that long. I think David Fincher might have a better shot, and here's why. Like, when you look at who they give it to like very well-established career directors like Scorsese. They love Eastwood.
They gave it to Sam Mendes in 1917
over Bong Joon-ho. And this is not to say that Bong Joon-ho or Chloe Zhao or whatever are not well-established directors. They're obviously some of the most respected in the biz, but it's not like Chloe Zhao has decades of work behind her. David Fincher feels like the pick that matches this category better. They gave it 6 nominations. It would be out of character for them to give it to Chloe Zhao. They might still do it, but I'm going to predict David Fincher. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to be upset, but that's just what I'm predicting now.
I still think Chloe Zhao could take this one because I know Mank is a directory movie, but so is Nomadland.
It would feel weird for Nomadland to go empty-handed here. It feels like a director prize would be a great way to award that. I'm still torn on this, but it just feels like how everybody was so confident that Bong Joon-ho would win director, and then they gave it to the established filmmaker who made a very crafty movie.
Usually they like to go with those mega achievement movies. They like a little bit bigger of a budget here, I would say. And Chloe Zhao's Nomadland is a very well shot movie. So in a way it is a little bit along that vein. But then Fincher's film is more heavily produced. I guess David Fincher would have the 51% edge over Chloe Zhao, who has 49 maybe. I'm not happy about that. He already has an award.
Sure does.
What are you gonna do?
Be sad.
I'm completely on the fence. I don't think there's a front runner here. It's probably one of the two. If it's not one of these two, who does it go to?
Aaron Sorkin.
You think he's gonna get director?
I don't know. Just they're awarding him for doing all the things. I don't know. Best performance by an actor in a supporting role: Sacha Baron Cohen, Daniel Kaluuya in Judas, Jared Leto in Little Things, Bill Murray on The Rocks, and Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami. I think this is a 2-horse race between Sacha Baron Cohen and Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya is who we think is the front runner for the Oscar, and Sacha Baron Cohen is campaigning his ass off, is having a hell of a year, is double nominated in lead, comedy, and supporting, could win both or none of those awards. And then Daniel Kaluuya, whose performance is clearly, objectively the best in the category and leagues ahead of Sacha Baron Cohen, who's good,
Preach.
But shouldn't be winning.
Preach.
I was set on predicting Sacha Baron Cohen because I felt like that's a fucking Globes thing to do. That is a classic Globes disappointing decision. Then I thought about it more and I said, when we look at the past few years, the year of 2017 and the year of 2019, we had sweeps all the way. All 4 acting categories, won everywhere. So it's actually a pretty good idea to bet on a grand sweep. And that's why I started predicting Daniel Kaluuya.
A lot of people were predicting Amy Adams would win for Vice over Regina King and Beale Street, but they didn't care. They went with the person who was going to win the Oscar eventually. A lot of people said Jennifer Lopez was going to win for Hustlers. They didn't go for Jennifer Lopez and Hustlers. They went for Laura Dern, A Marriage Story. Therefore, I have trouble buying the argument that Sacha Baron Cohen is ahead of Kaluuya just because of his star power or his name or how much they like him alone. Sacha Baron Cohen's performance is too not worthy. And I'd have a hard time understanding and seeing how they could give it to him for that. I know he's a master campaigner. I know he has 3 nominations here, and I agree that gives him a boost up. To me, Kaluuya is just leagues ahead to the point where I don't know how I could predict anybody else. It's the best, and it's also the most baity. It's not like Paul Raci gives an amazing performance, but no one knows who he is, and it's not a baity performance. It's subtle, and it's kind of like his personality. No, I think Odom Jr. is maybe like the second best in this category. It'd be great if he won as well. Some people are saying Jared Leto could win in this category because they give it to Aaron Taylor Johnson. They just do their own thing. I mean, yeah, it could happen, I guess, but I'm not willing to like consider that as a top option, and I'm not going to go out and predict that. I just don't think it's likely enough.
Yeah, I get how it feels like Aaron Taylor Johnson because it does. But that movie, like getting a director and a screenplay nomination in Nocturnal Animals, like that movie was campaigned to very hard. You know, The Little Things, like this is like the only nomination. If The Little Things showed up in screenplay and score or something, then, you know, we might have a different conversation. Supporting actress, Glenn Close, Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman, The Father, Jodie Foster, The Mauritanian, Amanda Seyfried, Mank, and Helena Zengel in News of the World. This is maybe the most tricky category, and the one where I think the most things are possible to happen, where I don't think it's a 2-horse race in this category. I think there's at least 3 players in here. Glenn Close could end up winning and starting a trajectory to the Oscar, which a lot of people think is going to happen. That might not start until SAG. It might start here. We don't really know. Coleman has won 3 Golden Globes so far. She's 3 for 3, actually. So they do like her a lot. I could definitely see Olivia Colman winning and becoming like maybe even the front runner after this. And then Amanda Seyfried, who felt like the front runner before the SAG snub. She feels like she could definitely win here. The Golden Globes loved Mank. Jennifer Lawrence in American Hustle, kind of. They usually just give it to the front runner like almost every time, but there's no front runner. We don't know who's going to win the Oscar.
Although the SAGs really took a lot of wind out of Amanda Seyfried's sail, I don't think she's necessarily going to not win anything. I actually am going to predict her here for the same reason that I was predicting her before she got snubbed at the SAGs. This is a really fun role. It's enjoyable to watch her do something different. Glenn Close is definitely possible. Like I won't deny that. And Olivia Colman is also possible. I won't deny those actresses. There are examples of when people get snubbed for the SAG and still go on to like win awards at places and be frontrunners. There was Regina King in If Beale Street Could Talk, but I know it was kind of a screener issue. Stallone wasn't nominated at the SAGs and went on to win, not the Oscar, but he did win other awards.
And the Golden Globe. I'll say Amanda Seyfried, then Glenn Close, then Olivia Colman.
I'm going to be on my toes for this one. I'm going to have to do a little bit of a knee bounce.
Foreign language film. Another round, La Llorona, The Life Ahead, Minari, and Two of Us.
I have a very clear opinion on this one. I always just go with whoever's the more likely Best Picture nominee, whether it's at the Globes or if it's doing well elsewhere. I see a lot of people jumping through hoops to say that they could give it to something else besides Minari. But Minari's getting Best Picture nominations at places, so it just doesn't even compare to me. Like, it's not even close, in my opinion.
Technically, Minari has just as many nominations as Another Round. They didn't really care to nominate even Yoon Ye-jung. There was also the whole controversy around Minari even being in this category at the Globes. And I don't really know if the members are going to have that in mind while voting, or if they think that giving it to Minari here would be a good way to award the movie, or if it would bring attention to the fraud in the category, or if they're even thinking about that. I just think I'm going to go with Minari here.
I mean, Minari has a Best Picture campaign. It's not that, this is really not very hard for me.
Best Motion Picture Animated. We have Crude's New Age, Onward, Over the Moon, Soul, Wolfwalkers. We don't need to twist ourselves into pretzels here. We don't need to put on our thinking caps.
We don't need to put on our wolf masks to predict Wolfwalkers. We only need to use our heart and our souls to predict Soul.
It's simple, it's easy, it's clean. There's not a shot for Wolfwalkers.
Done. Goodbye.
Anytime the Pixar movie is really, really good and it's the front runner, it wins. Oh no, Missing Link won. Fucking remember that. Oh shit. Coco won, Inside Out won. I don't think we need any more examples. This is basically a combination of those 2 contenders in a way.
Yeah, I'm not going to not predict Soul. You may have a hunch, but even your hunch doesn't make sense.
You should get that hunch checked out if you...
You're going to go to the doctor and see if they can deflate your hunch for you.
Best performance by an actor in a musical or comedy. Sacha Baron Cohen, Borat. James Corden in The Prom. Lin-Manuel Miranda in Hamilton. Dev Patel and David Copperfield and Andy Samberg in Palm Springs. Boy, I would love to see Andy Samberg win. But this is probably between Lin-Manuel Miranda and Sacha Baron Cohen. I think that Hamilton and Borat are going to have 2 face-offs in this category and in the picture category. It's just tough to say like how a movie like Hamilton can factor in here, as it is kind of not a movie.
Nobody here is going to be nominated for the Oscar. No one here is even close to be nominated for Oscar. This isn't even like Amy Adams in Big Eyes, where you could see her, if they had 8 nominees, maybe she would get in. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, I mean, there's no Oscar campaign for Hamilton. It's not going to happen anywhere at the Oscars.
Well, it's literally not allowed.
It's not allowed.
I think the case for Lin-Manuel Miranda is we loved Hamilton. You wrote it, you made it, you acted in it. Like, here's your award for all of it.
And they still nominated him over Leslie Odom Jr., which was weird.
And then Sacha Baron Cohen, he's double nominated. I think he's
triple nominated if you count this as a producer credit.
I'm going with Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm going to predict him to win something here. And I also think that it's possible that Borat wins this and picture. It's possible Hamilton wins this and picture. I might put my eggs in a couple different baskets. Spoiler alert for my comedy musical picture pick.
Sacha Baron Cohen makes the most sense here to me. I'm going to use the they love Sacha Baron Cohen argument to support this. Lin-Manuel Miranda is just a little too hard to figure out. And it's too transparently just giving him an award because you like him.
I think Andy Samberg is not impossible. It's like a 10 or 15% chance.
It's such an underdog, though, I think.
Best performance by an actress in a musical comedy. Maria Bakalova in Borat. Kate Hudson in music. Michelle Pfeiffer, French Exit. Rosamund Pike, I Care a Lot. And Anya Taylor-Joy in Emma. I will say, I've seen music now. It is a complete disgrace that was nominated. Even beyond the controversy and the fact that the casting was a terrible decision, and it's just a cringy portrayal of autism. I thought I would at least be able to see how an HFP member could be charmed by it. I feel like your brain has to be really off to be giggling and enjoying the movie. It's just not well written, and it's a kind of a nonsense movie. Kate Hudson's not that bad in it. I think she's fine in it, but I don't think she needs a nomination. I think Maria Bakalova is the obvious frontrunner here. Her campaign from Amazon has been absolutely nuts. And the fact that she's in this lead category with nobody else who's contending for any Oscars in any categories, the win is pretty clear.
Yeah, she's the most likely to get nominated for an Oscar down the road, even if it's in supporting actress. I could see people trying to make an argument for Michelle Pfeiffer in French Exit, but it's a weird movie. And also the movie is not anywhere.
It's still nuts that Meryl Streep's not here.
If Meryl Streep were here, would you be predicting her?
No, I'd still think it was Maria Bakalova.
Yeah.
People are kind of actually looking out for Rosamund Pike, and the reason is because that movie is peaking in popularity in a way that was kind of unexpected. It's number 1 in Netflix in multiple countries, right now. And this is also the day that the Golden Globes voting ended, so we know that that wave could be felt by the HFPA while they're voting. I guess it could happen, but I feel like that character is kind of underdeveloped. It's also not really a funny performance. I don't know. It doesn't fit the category. It doesn't make that much sense to me for her to win. And also there's been a lot of backlash to the movie in addition to people who like it. So it just feels like Maria Bakalova is going to win. I'd be shocked if Maria Bakalova did not win this. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. Borat subsequent movie film. Hamilton. Music. Palm Springs and The Prom.
Now you're telling me you're going with comedy musical actor, comedy musical actress for Borat, but you're not going to pick Borat for the comedy musical category.
I feel like I have to put an egg in the Hamilton basket. None of these movies, aside from Palm Springs, are really that acclaimed. Borat's Oscar campaign is actually more substantial than one might expect. I mean, it got a WGA nomination, so in some ways it's an actual kind of contender. But it's also not on the level of the first Borat. It is kind of topical though. Hamilton is probably the movie with the most passion behind it. You look at IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, anything. Letterboxd, Metacritic, Hamilton has the highest scores. There's 3 musicals in here. And you're going to tell me they're not going to give it to one?
Yeah, this category is just nuts this year. And again, we don't have anything in here that's contending for Best Picture. Palm Springs is clearly the best thing here. Although a lot of people who love Hamilton will say Hamilton is the best thing here, but it's hard to make an argument that that's a movie. And this is competing for Best Movie, but all they did was film the play, and I guess they did a good job filming it. I didn't even see it. I can't predict exactly how people are going to respond to the idea of them giving it to a film play. But I do agree that Hamilton as a piece of art and as just a standalone thing is more popular and better received than everything in this category. I mean, hands down. This is putting me in a weird situation that I don't like. Borat's just not as good as the first one, and it doesn't feel like it should win. The Prom was looking like it could win until I think Meryl Streep got snubbed for her nomination.
And song. They didn't nominate the song either.
I would be a little bit foolish, I think, to go with The Prom. I guess I'm on your side with this one. I guess I would have to go with Hamilton.
That would be the Globes being like the most Globe that they possibly could. And nominating music in Hamilton here is the most Globe thing that they could ever do. Best performance by an actor in a drama. Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Tahar Rahim in The Mauritanian. This is probably a race between Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins, I'd say. Chadwick Boseman, clear frontrunner. I think he's going to sweep. I don't really see them giving it to Anthony Hopkins. I know that Anthony Hopkins has never won a Golden Globe, but I can't think of any other examples where like the Golden Globes were like, well, in our pool, he's overdue, so we have to give them the award. I just can't think of when they've done that before. And also Chadwick Boseman doesn't have an award either. Anthony Hopkins could win. Like, I think he's the best performance here. They loved the movie. I just don't think that any of the bodies are going to give up the opportunity to give him the award. And it's also a very good performance.
They like The Father more than they like Ma Rainey. They nominated that for drama. I could see them going for Hopkins here. And I could see people panicking about Boseman winning his supposedly locked-in Oscar. I think I'd lean more towards Hopkins than you would, but I still don't think I can go against predicting Chadwick Boseman.
We have Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. You had Viola Davis and Ma Rainey, Andra Day in The United States vs. Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby, Piece of a Woman, Frances McDormand in Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman. Right after the nominations happened, I thought, Carey Mulligan is the frontrunner. That movie scored director, screenplay, picture, actress. Those are some major noms right there. Everyone was sort of struggling to find the frontrunner. Is it Frances McDormand's year of her third? Is it Viola Davis's second? I think there's a scenario where Carey Mulligan actually sweeps. There's also scenarios where it gets messy, where like Viola Davis wins this award or Frances McDormand wins something. And I don't think we can count those two out.
I'm really not sure I'm not sure I'm gonna say Carey Mulligan here.
What are you gonna do?
I might do Frances McDormand. Because what movie also has picture, director, actress, screenplay? And Nomadland could win. And they did give it to Moonlight though. Yeah, but I know it wasn't in La La Land's category.
I think people are still overlooking how art house Nomadland is. And that is not a good thing in terms of like winning major televised awards.
To be honest, I love Promising Young Woman, but I don't think Carey Mulligan is Oscar worthy in it. That's why I have trouble seeing this being such a clear like opening for her, and then she just runs right through and gets the Oscar with no obstacles in her way.
But I also can see how it's like, oh, this is like the time for Carey Mulligan. For the last decade, she's been absolutely great, and this is perhaps her best performance.
Once again, though, we have to acknowledge the Golden Globes do usually give it to the person who wins the Oscar. You know, if you look back at the last decade, if the eventual Oscar winner was in this category, the Golden Globes gave it to them. We don't know who's going to win the Oscar yet. This top 5 could easily be the Oscars top 5, so whoever wins this, like, we really have to consider that as the frontrunner. I would vote for Frances McDormand here.
I probably would too.
I'm going to give Carey Mulligan the edge. They really did love Promising Young Woman, didn't they?
And our final category, Best Motion Picture Drama. The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. You can probably infer what we're picking here. The Trial of Chicago 7 wins here. It could win screenplay, and maybe it can win supporting actor. They love Aaron Sorkin. They were the ones who gave it to Green Book. They were the ones who gave it to Bohemian Rhapsody, okay? They like the crowd pleasers. They like the easy watches. They don't like the Nomadlands. Ever since I started predicting Chicago 7 to win the Oscar, in I think like September, I said that is Globe's PGA editing adapted screenplay Oscar. Like that's just what I always thought. This is the trajectory that I've predicted it to be on, and I think it may be on that trajectory.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Trials of the Chicago 7 in drama here. Although I don't think it's impossible to go for Nomadland. And they have given it to Boyhood, they have given it to Moonlight. So it's not like they always choose the easy crowd pleaser.
Both years where the front runner was in comedy musical, but sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. That's why I'm still going to predict Trial of Chicago 7.
If you look, Boyhood was basically a no-brainer to win. It was up against like Imitation Game and Theory of Everything and Selma. Like that's it.
If Nomadland wins here, I will say, oh my, And I will be predicting that for the Oscar.
That'd be very, very big if Nomadland wins. Or if anything else wins, because honestly, I think Promising Young Woman could pull off a surprise here.
Are we predicting no wins for Nomadland?
Yeah.
That's odd.
Is it odd?
It's a little odd.
Or is it odd? Let us know your predictions in the comments. And get ready for the live stream extravaganza. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
How many Golden Globes will you win?